Okay. All right. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Tony, and I'm your teacher here at World's English. And today we are going to talk about the listening portion of the IELTS exam. And this is an introduction to the listening portion. Are you seeing my screen, Soumya?
Yes.
Okay, good. There are actually 9 total lessons in the listening part of the training. You may or may not need all of those lessons depending on the results of your level test. You can request a level test from World's English by going to worldsenglish.net. I'm going to show you very quickly how to do that before we get started, because it's very important that you are at least an upper intermediate level of English, so a B2 level. And if you're not, then you're not ready to attempt the IELTS exam. And we can design a plan for you that will help you get to that point by addressing your specific weaknesses and the things that you need to improve in your English language ability. So everything's running right now. I really need to get more RAM in this computer, I think. Okay. So to request your level test, just come to worldsenglish.net, click on Find a Class, click on Book one of our classes, and the level test is completely free. The link will be sent to you in your email, and you'll receive the login information. You'll go to our learning platform site, and there you will complete the level test. Your teacher will receive your results, and then you'll have a follow-up meeting with the teacher, and your results will be discussed, and your personal English action plan will be created. So once you have clicked on Find a Class, then go right here to Miscellaneous Services. I believe that's what it is. Open this up. Scroll down a little bit, and it's actually in here twice right now, but eventually we'll make that once. Just click on your level test. You can choose any date and time and it's only scheduled for 5 minutes. This is just to put it on the calendar so you can request it. So it doesn't matter what date or time you choose. As soon as we receive your request, we will enroll you and send you the link. So just choose a date and time, click Continue. Fill in your information and click Submit. And that's all there is to it. So now with that completed, we'll get back to our lesson. I'd like to thank Soumya for joining us today. And she's helping us create these videos. Thank you very much, Soumya.
Thank you, Tony.
I hope I'm pronouncing your name right now.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Have you taken the IELTS before?
No.
You haven't. Okay. As you may know, if you've looked into the IELTS or if you've scheduled your exam, that the listening portion lasts about a half hour, 30 minutes. And then you'll have an extra 10 minutes to put your answers on the answer sheet. And as I've mentioned in some of the other videos, I think that's all electronic now, but don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure. I do need to look into that. Maybe some of the smaller test centers are still using the exam paper. I'm not sure. But the IELTS consists of 4 parts, reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So today we're talking about the listening section. I believe there's also 4 parts to the listening section. You can't bring a dictionary during the test. You hear you hear each recording once, but not more than once, so you have to listen very closely. And the academic and the general candidates do the same test when it comes to the listening portion. There are 2 IELTS test versions. One is for academic learners, people that want to be admitted to universities based on their IELTS score. And the other is for general candidates, which are people that might be doing it for their job or for immigration purposes or something like that. The IELTS is accepted in, I believe, all English-speaking countries. It's even accepted in the United States along with TOEFL now. Not every university accepts it, but most do. So the difference in the 2 exams is that the reading and the writing portion on the academic exam is focused on things like graphs, charts, and statistical things like that. So where they don't do that in the general. So that's why they've created 2 separate exams for that. So you'll definitely need to think about what your purposes are for taking the IELTS and which exam you need. Okay. All right, so which of these do you think could be part of the listening test? What do you think, Soma?
First one, conversation between a teacher and a student.
Yeah, I think so.
A dialogue between 3 students in a cafe.
That's number 3. Okay, yep. Yeah, I think those could be on there. I think a lecture about climate change could also be there.
Okay.
Yeah, any of them really. We don't know. That's the whole point, is we don't know what questions will be on the exam because it changes all the time. So the point of the preparation lessons is to help you learn techniques for taking the test, rather than memorizing the questions and memorizing your responses to the questions. So you should be doing lots of practice by the time you complete all of the lessons. Okay, part 1 and 2 of the exam are in a social context. Therefore, the texts are about a general topic. In part 1, you will listen to a conversation between 2 people. During the conversation, the people attempt some type of transaction. So transaction, we could think of somebody paying somebody, or maybe it's an exchange of information. A common scenario involves a customer who calls a company to find out specific information about a product or service. Or maybe it's someone walking down the street asking directions and receiving directions. Okay. Part 2 is a monologue. What's a monologue?
Only one person is speaking.
Right. And I know that you have fabulous vocabulary abilities, so I felt safe asking you that. The point of that, though, is I want everyone to understand that you need to have a good high level of vocabulary, know multiple synonyms for whatever idea you're trying to convey, also prior to preparing for the IELTS or the TOEFL for that matter. Okay, so the part 2, like in part 1, involves providing information, but it's a single person. Okay. A possible scenario is a speaker giving a short presentation on a service or a guided tour through a physical location. So yeah, you can think of someone speaking on a tour bus or something like that, or a speaker. Like myself, when I record these lessons without anyone here, I am giving a presentation. I am having a monologue because there's no one there for me to speak, to exchange a dialogue with. Okay. Parts 3 and 4 of the paper are in academic context. The topics are more specialized, though they remain understandable to a non-expert. So this is consistent through both exams. It's not really academic testing of your ability to handle academic work like it would be in the reading and writing section. But it does involve a teacher and students discussing an academic topic. And many of the people that take the IELTS have already been to universities, so they have had a lot of practice speaking on academic topics in their own language. So this will test your ability to convert that to English. Part 4 is commonly a speech or lecture, which you might hear in an educational environment. It is likely to be on a topic that you know little about, yet it's simple enough for a non-expert to comprehend. So it's kind of testing how well you can think critically and analyze what you're hearing and come up with a response. Because you may, unless you're a very high level of English, you might still be thinking in your own language and then translating that to English. You're hearing the question in English, so you've got to go to your language and then back. So that's one of the reasons we recommend that you have that almost advanced level of English ability, because hopefully you're thinking in English most of the time. And I know that happens pretty early on because I study Spanish and my Spanish is terrible. I have a very low level of Spanish, you know. I'm trying, but I have a long way to go. And I do find when I'm traveling, sometimes I do start thinking a little bit in Spanish, even at my low level. So as wonderful as you are, Sonia, I'm sure that you're thinking in English. Okay, I kind of got a little off topic there. Okay, remember that each text is played once only. In no circumstances are you able to listen to the text a second time. So there's two things that are really important here, of course. Extreme focus, ability to really not think about other things, but just listen to the question. And the other very, very mandatory, not even just important, it's mandatory. You really must take notes to do well. You have to do that just to remember the key points. Okay. All right, which of these topics would appear in parts 1 and 2, in which in 3 and 4? So the first one we have a conversation between a student and a counselor. What do you think?
Part 1.
Okay. Number 2, a lecture on endangered marsupials in Australia.
3.
Right, that's a monologue.
Yeah.
A conversation about how to purchase concert tickets.
Part 1.
Okay, what do we have there?
Excuse me?
What type of conversation do we have there?
It's a conversation, you know, how to purchase a concert ticket.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's an exchange of information, so you're asking and receiving. Okay, a discussion about how to succeed as an entrepreneur. Part 3?
Part 3, yes.
3, A speech on women's access to education in developing countries.
Part 3.
Another monologue, right?
So, part 2. Okay.
I'm sorry. Did you want to read it?
No, it's like it's part 2 monologue.
Part 2. Yeah,
A
right.
speech. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm kind of stuck to 3 and 4, didn't I? Conversation about transport options to a stadium.
Part 3.
Okay, and an interview about the risks of dieting.
Part 3, 4.
Okay, so you've already memorized what types of questions are where, so you have a good head start here. Okay, before you're done, you'll memorize all the templates for those as well. Okay, when listening, establish the context as quickly as possible. What's context?
What is the topic all about? You have to understand that.
Yeah, what's the situation? With context, you are in a stronger position to predict the interactions and information that you're going to hear. So as you know, context can completely change the meaning of a word or a set of words. So it's important. Okay. Let's hear listen. Tell me there should be a recording. Yes, there is. Okay. So the things we want to listen to as we listen to this recording, what is the format of the recording? Is it a monologue, a dialogue, or a conversation with more than 2 people? Who do you think is speaking? An expert on the subject, 2 friends, a customer, and a sales representative. What is the topic? Is it a lecture about botany? Is it a request for information about tourist facilities? So you're welcome to take notes as you listen if you like.
Mm-hmm.
First, I'd like to welcome all of you here today. It's great to see such a large number of people.
I'm listening to 2 voices.
I think you're really going to enjoy this exit.
Are you able to play it?
No, actually it's 2. I'm listening it twice.
I
2
probably
times.
need to mute. Okay, I'll mute and then start it again. You're probably hearing it through my microphone.
Yeah. Yes.
And then I started talking with my microphone muted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what format do we have in that recording?
It's a monologue.
He's all by himself.
Yeah.
Okay, and who is he? Is he an expert on the subject?
Expert on the subject.
Yeah, he must be, because these are not monologues here. We can rule that out, and that's, always it's always good to think of test-taking techniques also.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just common sense stuff. All right, and what was the topic?
It is it is about art. Graham Hamilton.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I thought it is about art.
About art. Yeah, I want to listen one more time, just to catch that. I just wanted to listen to that again to see if there was anything at all about botany or tourist facilities. And of course, we would not be allowed to listen twice, but I wasn't paying close attention like I would have been if I were testing. So, I don't know why we don't have that answer here. I might have to mention that to the writers. Okay, we're going to listen to another one. And in this one, we're listening for the format of the recording, who is speaking, what is the general topic, and what information could come next. What are they going to say next? Mute. Okay, so I definitely expected something to come next. All right, I think I must have been remembering this when I gave my example of directions earlier. Okay, so what's the format of this recording?
Conversation.
Sure, and it's an exchange, right, of information. Okay, and who was doing the speaking?
Mike.
And what was the topic?
He wanted information about where he is going.
Okay, so really they were both speaking because they were exchanging that information. One was making the request and one was giving the information. And what do you think would happen next?
He would give him various options.
Sure. Yeah, give him some direction.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. In the text, that's a little confusing. All right. So when you might hear various accents in that last recording, I think both recordings we heard an English accent.
Mm-hmm.
But you may hear accents that are American, Canadian, which pretty much sound the same, British or English, Australian or New Zealand. With practice, you can tell these accents apart, but they're pretty close too. So it's good to listen to those different accents a lot. As an English teacher, I've found that the more I have students from a particular country and I get used to that accent,
Mm-hmm.
it gets easier for me to understand their accent in English, even if it's very strong. So I've heard a lot of complaints from people that have a strong accent, and they may be from an English-speaking country, or they may speak perfect English, and they'll go into a business and maybe place an order or something, and the person listening can't understand them, even though they're speaking perfect English. Has that happened to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and probably when you first started learning English, your accent's pretty clear now. But, you know, it's just differences. It has nothing to do with English abilities. It's just differences in the way we pronounce. Okay, so good ways to practice listening to the different accents, it says, are to listen to online radio stations. I think here in the United States, you can actually turn on an AM station on a radio late at night. You can hear broadcasts from all over the world after dark. Okay. In your opinion, which accents do you know well? Or is there one that you find challenging to understand in English?
I don't know. Sometimes I can't understand American people.
Well, that's the problem with Americans is we have a lot of different American accents,
Yeah.
lots of regions. So sometimes I can't understand American people. So yeah, I get what you're saying.
And I don't know anyone from New Zealand or Australia or Britain or Canada. All I know is American, and I don't understand American most of the time.
Okay, yeah, if they don't have a regional accent and they speak clearly, it's probably easier. But I'm fortunate. I'm fortunate that I grew up in the northwest part of the United States, and we don't have much accent there. But I live in the South now, the Southeast, and I hear various, especially if I travel around to different states, I hear accents that I struggle to understand. So it's okay. But you have to practice, and especially with a clear, I would recommend with a clear American accent and with a clear British accent. And you should.
Tony, you don't have accent, right? Because I can understand every word which you are telling.
My accent is, it's an accent, I guess, but it's, yeah, it's clearer. It's just easier to understand. Maybe it's a little bit closer to the original accents in Britain. But I also, over the years, have learned to slow down and really enunciate when I'm online teaching. So
that's good.
If you listen to me in regular conversation, it might be more difficult. But I don't use a lot of slang and things like that, so that helps, I guess. But sometimes when we're teaching, though, we do it intentionally to get you used to that. You know. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I do run my words together, and that makes it hard if I'm speaking quickly.
Okay.
Students say, "What did you just say?" And they'll say the two words together like it's one. Mm-hmm. Okay. Which accents require more listening practice before the exam? Which ones do you think? You think American accents?
I really don't know about Britain, Australia, or New Zealand. I never knew there are so many accents.
Yeah, I think British, Australian, and New Zealand sound similar. They just have different words in their vocabulary. I'm sorry, I'm having a little allergy attack. So my eyes are okay. The what is it? I can't remember the pollen. Ragweed, I think. Is not agreeing with me. Okay. One of the most important skills you require is listening for specific information. That is how to listen for exactly the details you need to complete the answers. And a good example of that is just really listening for a topic sentence or the main idea. So it's important to read the questions before you listen to the recording, and then you know what you're looking for while you're listening. Okay, so let's look at these questions and see if you can guess what a possible answer might be. So we'll be looking for the total cost of the transaction. Mm-hmm. What do you think might be an example answer for that?
Some dollars.
Sure. Okay, we'll be looking for a percentage. Oh, it's moving the words. Crazy. Percentage of fee if payment is made by credit card. What do you think is a sample answer for that?
0.5, 1%, 10%.
Sure. And after the payment, the salesperson will send you a confirmation of the booking and what might go there.
And the receipt?
Receipt, sure. Okay, so let's go ahead and listen for those things. Oh. Okay, did you hear all of the answers?
Yes.
Okay, I believe you did, so we're going to move on. Okay. All right. You may have noticed that the questions appear in the same order as the information is given in the recording. You always hear the information to answer question 1 first before you hear the information for question 2. I'm not 100% sure that they do it that way in the exam. I don't think they do. If I recall on some of the practice exams, there were questions out of order. But I might be thinking of the reading. So we'll see as we go along in the examples. Okay, it says, however, sometimes you need to select an option from a list. And in this case, the items in the list are in a random order. Okay. Actually, oh, I had to look. I thought I saw another recording. Okay. All right. So we're looking for the context. And each answer will be 1 or 2 words. Okay. So as we listen, see if you can hear the context and see if you can catch the answers. For breakfast, he generally drinks a cup of coffee or something. On weekdays, he normally buys lunch at A. On the weekend, he exercises 3 times, and his main form of exercise is. Okay.
You are not audible.
I clicked it. I guess I missed. Okay, so that was a pretty long one. So hopefully you got some notes for that.
Yeah.
So for breakfast, besides a cup of coffee, what else does he say?
Mug of tea.
Mug of tea. Okay. And on weekdays, he normally buys lunch where?
Lunch. Oh, that I missed. I wrote midday to 1 p.m. But he steps out on lunch and nearby Chinese takeout.
Takeout. Yeah, it's a takeout place. Yeah.
Chinese.
Got it. You just didn't get it in your notes.
Yeah.
Listening. Very good. Okay. On the weekend, he makes?
A salad.
Okay. Is that what I got? Okay. Yeah. He actually said several things there. I said something healthy. You said salad, but it was all part of the answer. He exercises 3 times
a week.
Good. And his main form of exercise is?
Running on a football pitch.
Yes, on the football. Okay, very good. You're going to do fine, I think. Okay. One skill you must master is the ability to listen for numbers. You're required to listen for numbers in part 1 of the test. For me, as far as listening skills, this is the hardest thing. So I have to write, if I'm listening for numbers, I have to write it down. Okay. So we need to check your ability to speak the numbers as they're written. And if you're okay with that, then then you'll be fine on the test. But if you don't speak them correctly, then we'll need a lesson where you can learn how to speak those numbers. Okay, so tell me first how you would pronounce this, and then what you think it is.
Okay, 23rd.
Good. And what is that?
Ordinal number? No.
I think that's right. You know what? I have to look that up too. So I'll pull a Google over here.
I don't know what is ordinal and what is cardinal.
It's been a long time for me too. So let me just double check because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. I think, well, I don't want to tell you wrong, so I want to confirm. Actually, I probably have the note. Okay, it is an ordinal number, so that's correct. I forgot I have notes. Okay, so 23rd is an ordinal number. Okay. What about this one?
17.
17 what?
17%.
Good. So that is?
It's a percentage.
Okay, this?
$13.80 amount of money.
Good. Okay.
357. Cardinal number.
Okay. Oops, wrong way. Okay.
1986 date.
Date. Okay, so you said these perfectly. So you are well prepared there. I don't think it will come up which is a cardinal and which is an ordinal number, but it's good to understand the difference, I guess. Okay. Are you familiar with the symbols for pounds and euros also?
Pounds, yes. Euros is a E.
Right. So you'd say it the same way, right? 13.
Yeah. 13, but I won't know. 13.80 pounds, I'll say. Like dollars and cents, I don't know. Pounds and what is the below denomination of pounds?
I'm not sure either, but you know, I think you would just say 13.80 euros or pounds. Okay. So as long as you understand the symbol is the most important.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we're looking for context in the questions again. And we want to decide which type of number would appear in the gap. Okay, so the first question we have is there were blank participants in the 10-kilometer race, though only 235 completed the event. So what type of number would fit here?
Cardinal number.
Okay, and what is an example of a number?
There were 1,000 participants, only 235 competed.
Okay, good. This always reverts back to the big fat pen. I want the little tiny pen. Okay. It's still hard to write with a mouse. Okay. After deducting blank tax from my salary, my weekly income is approximately $475.
Percentage, and I pay 33% tax. So
33%. Okay. Walk along Jameson Avenue, then take the blank street on the right.
23rd Street. It will be ordinal number.
Ordinal. Okay, good. Okay, according to historians, Cyril Fittler was born sometime in?
Date, 1980s, 1930s.
Sure. Okay, I've just requested a bank loan for blank to purchase a secondhand car.
$20,000, so amount of money.
Good. Okay. All right, again, they're asking us which type of number would appear in the gap, and then we'll listen to the recording and find the answers. Would you go ahead and read the paragraph with the blanks?
Do you want me to read it aloud?
Sure, sure.
Melbourne, a city in Australia, is often considered one of the most livable cities in the world. Again, in a recent survey conducted by a major publication, Melbourne appeared in some position for the 5th year in a row. Melbourne is a city of approximately people. It is a highly multicultural city. According to the Victorian government, of the Melbourne's population was born outside Australia. The average wage of a Melbourneian is Australian dollars something per year. Although it has one of the highest standards of living in the world, it is a young city by world standards. The city was founded less than 2 centuries ago in just a year before its neighboring city Adelaide in South Australia, established in 1836.
Okay, we'll go ahead and listen. Okay, so did you catch them all?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, it just follows right along, so that's pretty easy. I think you'd be more likely to encounter a question that says something like, how many times has Melbourne appeared in 5th position, or whatever the position was. Actually it was 1st. See, I mixed that up with 5th here. So that's the kind of thing that can happen easily if you're not listening. And I have to admit, my listening skills sometimes are terrible. Sometimes they're good. Just depends. Okay, look at these numbers. How do you say them? And as you listen, decide which number is spoken. Okay, so if you were going to use 14 or 14th in a sentence, it would depend on the context, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if they're going to leave that part blank. We'll go ahead and listen and see what they do. Okay, that's not what I thought they were going to do. So I'm going to go through it again, and I'll just mark the answer on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Am I back on? Yes. Okay. All right. How good is your spelling? Are you a good speller?
After, going, I was, but, when we are in a professional field, spellings kind of auto-correct themselves, right?
Right, right. And I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that the more information you put in, the harder it is to remember how to spell things.
I mean, at the end, you just put autocorrect and it kind of corrects itself.
That's true. That too. That's definitely made me lazy as a speller. But yeah, the spell check. So I might struggle with a word like chrysanthemum.
Yeah, I was also looking at the same word.
Or bouvier. That's French anyway. Okay, so as well as listening for numbers in part one, you'll also need to listen for a person's name or for the name of a place. So that's why we have a lot of names here. So all names are spelled once only, so it's important that you can recognize clearly the letters of the English alphabet. I think that anyone who is preparing for the IELTS clearly knows the alphabet.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were looking through this list, which of these would you consider names?
Second one, Simone de Beauvoir.
Sure.
And
I think that's right.
and Baden-Württemberg.
Mm-hmm.
And Mount St. Helens is the name of a place, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And Tokyo is also name of a place. And Vanuatu, I think it's also the name of a place.
Yes, Vanuatu is an island in the South Pacific.
Okay.
Okay.
And jaguar is the name of a animal.
An animal, yeah. I think it's not really a formal name though. It's just an animal. Okay. All right. as always, thinking about the context helps you think about the word that will be spelled. Okay, so says what kind of information could complete these gaps? I guess you could make up any name, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let's do some examples just so that you're getting that formal name type noun there.
Okay.
So just go ahead and read through each one and make up an example.
Okay. His full name is Parks Dustin. Her address is 49 Loyola Avenue, Hillsview. You can fill in the form online at www.google.com. Sue and John are planning to hold the wedding at the function center in the Sears Towers. The standard abbreviation used is, I don't know.
Okay, at Al or something, yeah. WWF maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
So to use a formal abbreviation, it would be capitals just like a formal name. So that would be the World Wildlife Federation.
Okay.
It also used to be the World Wrestling Federation. I think World Wildlife sued them and they had to change their name.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to read these sentences and then listen to this recording, listening for the correct answer. For number one, John's family name is, and they're very, very similar. It might be a slightly different pronunciation.
Yeah.
Okay. He lives on McIntyre Road. McIntyre. I wonder if they're going to spell them for us.
They're so same.
Yeah, I think they pronounce the same. So we'll see what they do. Okay, and the name of the city in which he lives and where he works. All right, so I'm going to mute again. Okay, thank goodness they spelled them for you.
Yeah.
Now, the purpose of this particular question is sometimes people might pronounce these two letters as J. They might pronounce them the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, how would you pronounce this letter?
J.
J. Okay, and this one?
G.
Yes. Okay, so I think that's why they're giving us this. But what did you get for number one?
Jeger. The last one.
The last one. Okay, and oh my thing. Okay, it's actually telling me it's this one. J-A. So that's where it's very careful. You have to be very.
Oh no, this is the middle one. I have written the middle one. Jeger.
You did write that. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So be very careful because that's where silly errors will come in, and you don't want to miss one because of something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. How about number two?
MCINTYRE.
Sure. So
The first one and the third one are completely same. If I'm not wrong.
MCINTYRE. MCINTYER. See there?
Okay. RE, the first one.
The first one. Okay. Okay. And number three.
OBERON, the middle one.
Okay, good. And this one.
The last one, St. Arnulf Hospital.
Yeah, and he spelled that for us, so
Yeah.
helped. Okay, good job. Okay, it's important to read the questions carefully, understand the context, and predict what you're going to hear. But not to the point that you only hear what you're thinking. Okay. So immature insects are known as
Larvae.
one of these three, and hopefully when we listen, they're going to spell it for us. I think you know the answer anyway, but okay. And according to scientists, the number of different insects accounts for one of these. So let's go ahead. Okay, so what'd you get for number one?
A. Larvae. Larvae.
Right. Okay, and number two?
Number 2 will be C.
Yeah. Okay, that's what he told us. Sounds like you're cooking. Okay. And this is another recording. So we're looking for the number of species of beetles. It's estimated at, and according to the speaker, insects appeared how many years before the dinosaurs? Okay, so one more. Okay, so what do you think about number three?
C.
C, 380,000, good. And number four?
Number 4, A.
170 million, good. Okay, so we've reached the end of the questions. So what you had here is an overview of types of questions that are encountered in the listening portion. When you go through the follow-up lessons, or they're not even follow-up, they're just the continued lessons in the listening course, you'll have more practice on the individual types and get more information on how to really prepare for those. For you specifically, Soma, we'll talk about that. I think you're in a pretty good position to probably go ahead and go on to the next thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, and for everyone listening, I hope you've had the opportunity to practice these questions along with us, and you can go to World's English and enroll in the next lessons, but don't do that until you've done your level test, like we mentioned before, so we can determine if you need to take all of the lessons, because between the 4 parts, reading, writing, listening and speaking. There's a lot of lessons, and you may not have enough time before your exam to take them all. If you do, wonderful. You'll be that much more prepared and probably score that much higher. But if your time is limited, if you've already scheduled your date, then we'll have to very carefully consider which lessons are the most important for you. Okay, do you have any questions today, Soma?
No, not really. So,
okay. Well, thank you so much for helping me create this lesson today. And I look forward to seeing you later as well.
okay. Bye, Tony. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.